Hobonichi has released the 2027 lineup, and I could very easily get distracted by beautiful covers and by 6 planners I don't need. So instead, I'm going through the collection asking one question: what job would this actually have in my life? I already have a few strong contenders, but I'm going to look through the lineup with you and see what survives. I'm starting with the actual books first, because there's absolutely no point in falling in love with covers before I know whether I even need the planner inside it. First will be the A5 Cousin. I've used the A5 Cousin as well as the Avec, and most of the time I go for the A5 Cousin Avec. I've used it as a memory keeper and a journal for almost 10 years. I put photos, tickets, wristbands, event memories, purchases, little pieces of life. I love how thin they begin and how ridiculously chunky they can become. The Avec is a 2-book system. Even when mine have expanded dramatically, these books have held together very well, as they start out quite thin and they can get quite chunky. The Avec is about half the thickness of the Cousin, so even when I did use it for my everyday carry, I still found it to be a reasonable size. However, it's not my preference for an everyday book, and if I don't have a job for it, it doesn't come home. Now, what I do wish was different though is I wish Hobonichi made an Avec in B6. A5 is a little larger for a true portable everyday carry for me, and I would love it to come in an English 2-book version. The Japanese version works well. However, it would be nice to have that option, like the Techo A6. And I really wish that the quotes at the bottom would not be there. I know people love them. I understand the charm. I personally want more usable writing space. I've tried covering them in older books with washi tapes, stickers, photos, but then that chunks up and bulks up the bottom of the page. So my preference now is a more minimal, clean layout. For me, the strongest job for the A5 Avec is still memory keeping and journaling, somewhere I can physically build the year as I live it. So this would be a strong yes again. Now the A5 Day Free, I'm going to skip to this one next. I have used this one in the past. I've also purchased both sizes, A6 and A5. I have used the A5 as a travel journal, as a notebook. Currently, I'm using a 2026 one for learning Korean, and I've also experimented with it for finances. What I like, again, is it's thin, like one A5 Avec. It gives me lots of room. The monthlies, I love the clean, bright layout. It gives me flexible pages. And there's no pressure to fill a daily dated page every day. Historically, I love the idea of daily pages more consistently than I actually use the daily pages. So that's why the Day Free often makes sense for me. Where it failed for finances, monthlies were useful, but beyond that, I didn't have enough weekly structure for bills or ongoing financial information, and eventually the notes became too loose. And I reverted to using it back as a journal or a notebook. Again, there's quotes at the bottom of the pages. They're blank pages, however, the quotes are still there. And I would really like them to not be there. I increasingly want a whole page available to me. Again, for journaling, mind mapping, putting in photos. If I bought this again, what would the job be that my current 2026 Day Free or another notebook couldn't already do? This goes in the maybe pile, as it does need a job. Let's look at the A6. The Techo book comes in A6, in an original Japanese version, the Japanese original Avec, an English original book, and the Techo 2027 English Planner book, which is the one that I'm leaning towards. There's also a one-piece magazine version. That one doesn't really appeal to me. So the English Planner book is the one I've used in the past. I've used it as a gratitude journal for morning pages, small daily journaling, and personal reflection. What I like, it's a smaller book, lovely daily ritual size, not too big, not too small, enough space for short entry without feeling like I need to write an essay. The quotes are still there, however, but they're English, so I can at least read them. There is no weekly overview, and it is too small for the functional planning that I like to do, and I need to see more of my life at once. So this would never be my master planner. Its job would have to be personal. Again, gratitude, journaling, reflection, maybe morning pages. And I haven't used my 2026 one as consistently, so this now goes in the maybe pile. Now let's look at the weeks. This is, I think, my nostalgia trap. I have owned and used many weeks versions. I have quite the pile. I've tried the Mega, I've tried the Sneaker. Over the last few years, I've moved away from them because horizontal daily sections are fairly small for the amount I tend to write. Again, the quotes take up additional real estate. And I have found other brands doing similar layouts with more usable writing space. What I still love, however, is the portability, the feel in the hand, the durability, the quality is exceptional, easy to throw into a bag. The leather versions are beautiful and archive beautifully. And this year they have the Noble Silver and Forest Green, and I own one in each color from previous years. The Silver 2027 is my problem. I have a Silver from 2023. I have the Forest Green. These feel like keepsakes. They're memory books because the leather itself is something I want to preserve. The silver one here, the silver leather, is absolutely catching my attention. I think it's stunning. I can see myself putting this in my purse, taking it out. But I have to be honest with myself. Is that because it fills an actual planning job or because I'm nostalgic for my old leather weeks? So if September 1st arrives and I cannot name a job, it does not go into the cart. As beautiful as it is. Status, dangerous, maybe. The Han is a quick pass for me. I've never really quite gotten into it. I have many covers for my A6 books, and I would rather use a cover than have the hardcover. However, if I were to purchase one, it would be the / navy. It does come in English or Japanese. And similar layout as the Techo. I do understand why people like having the book and cover integrated together, but I already own covers I love and I like being able to change them. So unless something completely changes my mind while we're looking at this, this is an easy pass. The 5-year Techo. I actually bought a Hobonichi 5-year a few years ago because I genuinely love the idea of seeing several years of your life on one page. But I've learned that loving a concept and consistently maintaining a 5-year journal are two very different things. I already have other long-term reflection and memory keeping systems I'm experimenting with, so I do not need another 5-year book simply because the new one is beautiful, as incredibly tempting as it is. What I find is if there's something I want to remember on a specific year on the right-hand side, I like that it gives you that extra space to write. However, because the book would get incredibly thick, this isn't one where I would put photos or stickers or any keepsakes in there because it would just bulk it up even further. And I find that the planners I'm using now, I'll do wins and reflections and gratitudes in amongst the weekly pages or the preview or summary pages. And that seems to work better than having to summarize it once and then put it into this 5-year planner later on. So the status for this one is a current pass. Now that we've dealt with the actual books, we can let ourselves look at the dangerous part, the covers. My existing stash is very robust. I own a lot of Hobonichi covers and other brands in A6 and A5. Also, other sizes and brands in my overall planner stash, in B6, B6 Slim. So yes, I'm actually considering a destash, and I will be doing a destash video. I want to go through everything I own, keep the covers I genuinely love and use, and let go of the ones I'm keeping simply because I once bought them. In Hobonichi, I have a number of the Techo covers, and there's some beautiful combinations here, but unless something is nicer than what I have or calls to me more than something I own, I'm going to skip these. And a few of these I already own. I have a black and blue cover. I have a similar to the aqua lime. Previous year was a combination of a blue-green. Some of these are really stunning. Nothing is really calling me this year though, luckily. Something that does catch my eye are these zip covers. But I find if they don't lay flat or there's a bump from the pocket, that would frustrate me because I like flat surfaces to write on, so I would find myself pulling the book out. And I have done that with previous zip covers. The ones that really do catch my eye again are the leather covers. I own Hobonichi covers in black, brown, orange. I love the butterfly pen loop closure. I love the way the leather ages. I love how they feel and how durable they are. These have earned their place and I use them time and time again. The yellow one is attractive to me, but again, I'm using the orange ones. Don't need that. The leather TS Basic Black, I have one, if not two of these. I think another year it came out with a darker brown. I have yet to even use that one. The black I've used for years and years and it still holds up very well. I think I even took the strings out of this one. But I've used it with many books in A6 size. The leather tout gray is really quite pretty. I think I have one in this style, different color, probably a brown again. So while this is tempting, I don't need it. This field sky is quite pretty. This is something that calls me. However, I have lovely ones from the previous couple of years, and I have yet to even use. Luckily, there is nothing here that I would choose over what I already own. And I'm grateful for that. I may actually do a separate video going through my existing Hobonichi cover collection and deciding what stays and what gets destashed before I bring anything else in. So if you'd like to see that, let me know. Even this leather sage green is beautiful. I have a green from a few years back, and I rarely use that one. If anything, this one would really catch my eye. I'm going to say maybe and leave it for now. Let's take a quick look at the A5 Techo covers. Now for A5, I tend to use the leather covers more. I may have purchased a navy cover, and again, I don't think I've used it often. Actually, yes, I do. I have a navy and baby blue or sky blue, and I have used it, but it's just been in storage for a little while. Some of these covers are really quite lovely this year, though. I like this folio style. I don't know how secure that little magnet would be. I think it's a magnetic closure. It's very classy. It's a nice look. I don't think I need it. The Mina glass flower, I think this is a zip cover. I have a beautiful bubble zip cover from a few years ago. Brand new, never used it. Maybe it was the texture, maybe it was the zipper. I find if a zipper cover doesn't lie flat, I don't tend to reach for it. Oh, we have that sage green in A5. Oh, here we go. The one note about the A5 covers is they're set up for a cousin. And because I start with the Avec book or the Day Free, initially there's almost too much room for my notebook. However, as it gets bulkier, then it sits in the cover better. So initially it's a bit lost. Okay, quick look at the weeks again. The canary yellow is lovely. The banana looks fun. Midnight blue, can't go wrong. I love the poppy reds. I think I had a bright yellow one year. I do like either the more jewel toned black, you can never go wrong. The forest green is so classy and just elegant. It is lovely to have in a purse. Looks very professional. And then there's the silver, and that's calling my name. It's very tempting, but nostalgia is not a planning system. Very quickly, the Day Free covers. I also purchased a few of these. I found them almost too tight for the books. Never reached for them. A quick peek at accessories. I have purchased some of these drawer pouches. They come in handy as little wallets. When I'm on trips, I'll use them, put a few small things in them. Mainly, I would go for something like this one, just the fabric basic. This is actually really cute. This is something I would consider using. I like when the outside is darker, it's less likely to get dirty, and inside it's brighter and This one is really cute. Do I need it? Not really. I have a black one in this size for sure that I've yet to use much out of. The smaller ones are the ones that I use the most. They're almost like a little wallet size. Ah, this is the one. I have this in a couple of colors. This is the Cutie Patootie. Yeah, it's just a little zipper wallet. It works great as a little wallet. Really cute. I think I have a similar one. And I may even have one bright color as well. The Aurora Duty really is attracting me. But I would get that more in the small drawer pouch versus the drawer pocket. The Ukrainian flowers are really quite pretty. I would worry about it getting quite dirty though. This one is gorgeous. I would worry that the linen would get too dirty. This is the one I have, the black. And again, it's nice and light linings. All right, so quick look at the fun stuff. Let's do one quick look at the stationery, the fun stuff. I love accessories. Ooh, 2027, what is new? Hobonichi Techo Mini Keychain. This is adorable. Would I use it? No. However, these are precious. And it looks like there's actual paper that you can write on. That's so cute. We'll pass on that one. The things I reach for here are the things I'll actually use, like sticky notes. These pencil boards look adorable. I always look for new pencil boards. I have a few from previous years, but as they get worn out, I'll find something else. This is cute. I don't know Sun very well, so that's a no. I'll see what the basic colors are this year. So much accessories. I love pens and I love stationery. So this is a rabbit hole I can definitely go down way too easily. What are the colors of the basic boards this year? Quick peek at this. I actually have this mug and I have the banner. It's usually up in my studio. I just took it down and I still use this keychain from a number of years ago. And I hope I say this correctly. It's Ochitsuke. And I love this line. The mug, I've used it, but I find it too small. I like really big 16-ounce mugs. Definitely this is more a nice tea size. I don't reach for it often as beverage. If anything, I put pens in it. However, this is a series I really am fond of. And I have a few items already from it. Okay, two quick looks at the pencil boards to see what came out this year that's new. Okay, so their basic pencil boards this year are gray and yellow or navy and pink. I may pick up a few of the navy and pink just to restock. I'll see what I still have. I'll take a look through, and even the lighter one. Yeah, I've used all of them. The A6 is adorable here. Is that the Aurora? It has, I think, the Aurora. A5 will be Count the Lights and Hobonichi Week's Twinkle Shells. I wonder if this is an error. Maybe it should say for A6 for the Techo. Yes, very likely. So the Aurora is likely the A6. That's all right. There's memo pads and stickers and folders. One last thing I will mention that I've used a lot. In addition to some clear covers, I have purchased these. I always have these little rulers and stencils on hand. These are my go-to. I've used these for years. My favorite is the longer yellow, the Weeks one. It's called Schedule. And then the green one, which is called Basic. And these I use repeatedly. They're great for notes and travel set. I have that one too. Speech bubbles I have as well. I've rarely ever used it. And the activities is cute too. So there's 5 in total. The ones I reach for the most is this yellow one, the green, and I've used the blue. I like all the little icons in it. They're also very durable. I have some from many years back, and I've restocked just to have backups. And these little memo pad booklets, I've ordered them in the past. Use them sporadically. If you have a purpose, they're handy. If you don't, I don't buy them. So right now, before I place any orders, here's my final shortlist. A5 Cousin Avec is the strongest yes. The A5 Day Free is a strong maybe, but it needs a specific job. The A6 English Planner, maybe, for something personal like gratitude or journaling or morning pages. And the Weeks, the silver leather is absolutely tempting me. But again, nostalgia is not a planning system, so we'll see what happens on September 1st. The Han, probably a no, and the 5-year, a no, because I already have that has the job covered. One thing that may change all of this, I also have several planners coming in for review, including different sizes and layouts I haven't fully tested yet, or I'm giving another look at. Those may very well bump one or more of the Hobonichis out of my system. So this is not necessarily my final cart, it's my shortlist based on what I know right now. Before September 1st, every one of these has to answer the same question. What job will you actually have? Because if I can't answer that, I probably don't need to buy it. Tell me what's on your Hobonichi 2027 list, and more importantly, what job is it going to have?